Hello there and welcome to the ThinkTech tutorials. My name is Akshay Zadav and in this video I'm going to explain everything you need to get started with the Vlookup function in a Microsoft Excel. So by the end of this video you can write your own Vlookup formula and also you can identify some common errors and how to deal with it. So I'm here with the practice file overview sheet and these are the things we are going to learn today. I'll explain the definition and what are the different uses of the Vlookup function, then how to write this Vlookup formula into the Excel format and going to explain with example. Then also I'm going to explain what are the common mistakes so that you can easily deal with the errors, and also why the Vlookup function stops at the first match and what is the sorting myth. Then I'll also discuss about how to create the relationship between the tables. This video is definitely packed with tips and shortcuts to help to make this process faster and easier. So let's get over to the Vlookup functions and definition and its uses. So here is the Vlookup definition. The whole point or the purpose of the Vlookup definition is to look for a value in a particular column and then returns a result from a particular cell in a same row when the match is found. This allows us to answer our question. So I have this popular example of exam result display board. So this is the proper analogy of the Vlookup function. So when you see your result on a display board, you actually implement the Vlookup formula in your head. Interesting, right? So what I mean is that the whole point of the Vlookup function is to scan your name into the particular column. Once you find your name, then you go across to find your exam result. So this is what actually Vlookup does. The important thing about this Vlookup functions is it always looks to the right. So we learn more about it once we move forward, but this is very simple analogy to remember the Vlookup function and what it actually does. So in the Excel there are tons of uses in the for the Vlookup. So you can create the relationship between the data and the lookup tables. You can also search your data into the tables and the databases. Also you can make the interactive reports and the financial model, and you can also use the Vlookup function instead of more complex nested if statements. Also you can use it in the tax and commission rate calculation. So definitely there are a lot of uses of these functions and more than I have explained here. Let's jump over to the write a Vlookup formula into the Excel format. Here I am going to teach you how to write Vlookup formula and want to answer this question: what is the name, total percentage marks and result status of student ID 1008 in the final exam? I know it's very simple question and it's very easy to find out this answer. We are actually implementing the Vlookup function in our head, and first we scan this column to get the particular student ID and then move across to the right hand side and get the name, result and status of that particular student ID. So but I want these answers by using the Vlookup formula into these cells. So how to do that? I'll explain in a minute. The lookup ID is 1008. Then select the H5 cell, then press the equal, then start writing the formula Vlookup. You can hit the tab button to autofill it. Then these are the 4 different arguments: lookup value, table array, column index number, range lookup. If you are dealing with this Vlookup formula for the first time, it might be a little bit confusing for you. That's why I have mentioned simple definition down. So the first one is value to look for. So we are looking for the value 1008 here. So here there is one simple trick that once we select that cell, we are going to put it as a absolute reference So just press the F4 keys to do that, and if you are using the laptop or small keyboard, just hold the function key and then the press F4 keys to make it absolute reference. Then in the second argument we have to find the range to look in. So our range is this entire table. So first I am going to select these 4 cells, then hold the Ctrl and Shift button and hit the down arrow key to select the entire table. Once we select the entire table, we are also doing the absolute referencing for that. So I'm holding the function key and press the F4 keys to do that, then comma the column index number. So the column index number in this particular table, we have 4 different columns and we are looking for the name. So I'm going to put it here 2, then comma the last argument is approximate or the exact match. So we are looking for the exact match. You can select here directly or you can enter the false. So once you complete this formula, close the parenthesis and hit the enter. So here we get the name of that particular student, right? Then I want this in the result and status as well. So I'm dragging this formula down. After that I'm just going to change a little bit, because in the third argument we have to mention the column index number, but our column index number is different for the result and status. So I'm just going to change from 2 to 3 and then press the enter, and I have to change the number format here, so because it is in percentage form. Then the status, so again the third argument I have to change to the column number 4 and this one. So we get these answers. If you have practice file open, I am encouraging you to pause this video and try to write down the Vlookup formula. This will actually help you to practice and really understand this formula. I just want to take a quick break and ask a favor of you. If you are enjoying this video, please subscribe to our channel. There is a big red button down below this video. You can click on it to subscribe. You will get notified when new videos are published. All our videos help you to learn advanced skills of Microsoft Excel. Thanks again, and let's back to our training session. The error sheet, and now I'm going to explain what are the common mistakes the people usually do, and I'll provide some tips to avoid those kinds of error. Now I want to use the lookup functions to get a result for those kinds of student ID. So let's start with that. So equal, then Vlookup. So hit the tab button to get the autofill, and our lookup value is now student ID. Then comma. Now I'm going to use this table array, but I'm intentionally putting as a relative address. Now the column index number. So we want a result and which is in the third column, so put it 3. Then we want the exact match and close the parenthesis and hit the enter button. So even though we are using the relative reference, we are still getting the correct answer. Now let's see, if I drag this formula down, what will happen? Unfortunately we are getting errors for all these student IDs. So let's check what happened here. So because we shifted this formula down and we are using the relative referencing, our table is also shifted down, and we don't want to do that. So it's a good habit to use the absolute referencing. So just double click on the table array and hold on the function key and press the F4 keys. So now I'm using this absolute referencing, and if I drag this formula down, I'll get all the correct answer. So this is how you can deal with the table array error. Okay, now I want to use the Vlookup function for student name. So these are the different student name and I want a result for them. So equal, then Vlookup function. Now my lookup value is no longer student ID and I'm using the student name. Then comma, now my table is same because I am extracting all values from the same table. Then column index number, so the 1 2 3, so still it is in third column and we want the exact match. So enter. So we are getting the error here. So we haven't used the absolute referencing, so that might be cause. So press the function key and F4, but still we are getting the error. So we are getting error because we are using the student name as our lookup value, and when we are using the lookup value, so if we are considering here, so our lookup value is the student ID, and which is the leftmost column, and here when we are using this one, our lookup value is name column, and which is no longer the leftmost column. So to do that, I want to reduce this table array to here. So now lookup value is in the leftmost column of the table array, and now I press the enter. So now we are getting the result as a P, and which is the status column, because we haven't changed the third argument. So let's double click it, and instead of 3 make it 2, because now the table array changed and the result is a second column. Okay, so now we are getting the result. So now I am going to drag the same formula for the another student name, and let's see what happens. So I'm getting the result correct for these two persons as well, but still getting error for this one. So let's check what happened with the Stephen, and if you notice that there is no any Stephen name here, so it means this lookup value is missing, and Vlookup value can't get any result to deal with any missing values. And we can handle this kind of error by using the if error function, and I'll talk about that thing in the different tutorial. So now let's deal with this formula by changing the name. So I'm just changing this name Stephen to the Mia, yeah, and we get the correct answer. Now so check here, so the EMA, so check this name is exist in our database, so the EMA is also here. So even though we are using now absolute referencing, we are taking care of everything, but still we are getting a result. So let's check this name. So this one is correct, there is no any spelling mistake. Check it. So if you notice that there is one blank space here, so Vlookup function also can't work if there is no any exact match, because we are putting as exact match and there is one blank space here. So there are many ways to fix that, and I'll explain in another video. Let's fix now by deleting this extra space and just hit the enter. So now we are getting the correct answer. So this is how we are dealing with all types of errors. So these are my 4 tips to avoid the possible errors. So the first one is table array should have the absolute address and not relative address. Second one is lookup value should be in the leftmost column. Third one is identify the missing lookup value so that we can deal with that, and try to avoid the blank spaces. So the last 2 tips I'm going to be provide the another video for those things. Now we will move to the next part, and I'm going to explain why VLOOKUP functions stop at the first match and what is the sorting myth. So here I'm in the first match and sorting sheet. So in this sheet I want answer to this question, that what is the total percentage marks and result status of Michael Ground in the final exam. I know it's very simple questions and you can easily get answer through this table, but I want this answer by using the VLOOKUP formula. So I tried the VLOOKUP formula for result and status, but still I'm not getting the right answer. Then I realized that I used the lookup value as a first name, and there are 2 Michael present in this list. So that's why the VLOOKUP function short circuit after it finds the first match. To deal with such kind of problems, we have to use the unique ID. So here we can use the student ID as a unique name. Then there is another myth about the VLOOKUP functions, that you have to always sort your list into the ascending order, and I don't think so it is true, because here if you see the first name, I didn't sorting this into the ascending order, but still we are getting the right answer. So at least it is not required for the exact match. Now I am moving forward to create a relationship between the various tables. Now we are going to look up how to create a relationship between summary table and lookup table. So I have this lookup table which has everything, the student ID, first name, last name, there are different subjects and the final result. But I want to make the summary table like this, which has only the first name, last name, result and status. So how to create this kind of relationship? So equal, then we lookup, then hit the tab button. So our lookup value is first name, then comma. So we have to select the table array. So just go into the lookup table and select the first row here. Then hold the Ctrl and Shift key and hit the down arrow key to select the entire table. Now I want to do this the absolute address. So select the entire address, hold the function key and press the F4 key to make it absolute. Then enter comma. So the column index number, so this is the 6. Then we want the exact match. So close the parenthesis, hit the enter button. So I'm getting the right answer here. So I'm just dragging this formula to the down. So this is how we can create the relationship between this kind of lookup table into the summary table. Alright, I hope you like this video and understand the Vlookup function. I know you can feel scary or overwhelmed at the first, but I highly encourage you to practice, even go back and rewatch this video, and you will definitely find easier over time. If you have any question, please feel free to comment below. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Stay connected.